Welcome to another episode of At the Table with Susan and Lucy, my co-chair of the American Italian Food Coalition. Lucy Colludi could not be with us today, but I'm Susan Molinari and I am delighted to be here. The American Italian Food Coalition represents over 450 Italian businesses, manufacturers, producers, and trade associations in Italy working to ensure that their goods and their fine quality of exports gets to the United States to our wonderful consumers who appreciate them so much. Today, I am so excited and delighted to introduce and be with Congressman Rulli, who is a representative from the Ohio delegation and is co-chair of the Italian-American Congressional Delegation here in Congress. Congressman Rulli has represented Ohio's 6 congressional districts since winning a special election in 2024. He's a member of the prestigious Energy and Commerce Committee and the Committee on Education and Workforce. Previously, he served in the Ohio State Senate and as the Director of Operations. Now, here's the really important part, for his family's century-old business, Rulli Brothers Market. So, Congressman, we're thrilled to have you with us today. Your background in the grocery business, in Congress, your affection and devotion to the Italian-American community is beyond compare. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Susan. It's great to be here.
Great to have you here. Okay, so I have to deviate a little bit from the normal questions that we ask. So first of all, where is your family from in Italy, and how did they get into the grocery business in Ohio?
Well, the Rullis were Calabrese, so they're from Cirella, and then the Giannini's are from up north near Milan. Okay. So, you know, it was like the battle.
I was going to say.
For those that know.
The North and South.
The North and South, and the North was not kind to the South, but it's okay.
It's worked out.
We all love each other.
It's worked out. The Rulli brothers made it work. But, you know, it's interesting because my dad, Guy Molinari, his family was from Calabria, and so is Lucy's family. So they're, all right, Northerners, there might be something in the water there down south.
I'm partial to Calabrese, no, absolutely.
Me too. Now, you've had an incredible career. What does it mean to you, first of all, to be an Italian-American? I know that you could fill this whole program with the way you were raised and the values that came to you. And if you can just touch on, we've discussed this before, sort of the cultural significance of Italian food.
Well, it's just strange. I think growing up, I thought everyone was Italian. I didn't know there was another option. So, you know, I mean, we could start off like how, like, you're raised very eccentric when you're an Italian-American. And what I mean by that, like, everybody would go to school and in the cafeteria, they'd all go online and get like burgers and stuff. And I'd either have like a peppered egg sandwich or a mortadella with pistachios with hot peppers on it, you know. It's just, you're just raised different. I never went to McDonald's till I was like 16. So I remember the first time I went to McDonald's, it was like a big deal. My friends couldn't believe it. I was like 16 years old, but like mom and dad, and especially grandma really growing up, they didn't want to hear it. Like, you're like, we have the best deli in the world. Why would you go to get garbage food?
Oh, so growing up, you had the deli already?
Well, yeah. I mean, we had, our stores were established in 1917 by my grandpa. Grandpa Rulli came over from Cirella with his brothers in the 1890s because of the steel that was going on in America. So they went to New York City for like a year, and then they said Youngstown was an up-and-coming city, so they all moved there. And basically, they took turns. Nicola, my grandpa, and then Rocco and Francesco. They all worked in the steel mills, and then they had property that they grew produce on, and they started selling it, I mean, just on the street corners of Youngstown, and they opened their first store in 1917. Yeah.
Wow. And so what is that? I'm sorry, I know I said that, but is that third generation now? Or?
Yeah, my grandpa, my dad, then my brother. Well, actually, and then my son's involved in it now, so there's four generations. Yeah.
Boy, there's not many businesses who can claim that anymore in this country, is there?
Yeah, it's hard to stay open for, we're 109 years, so it's hard, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So now, you're chair of the Italian-American coalition here. What does that mean to you? Why did you? Because you're very active in this arena. You are at a lot of Italian American events. You sort of preach the heritage. You preach the food. You preach the culture and the value. As people will see, it really excites you.
It really does. And I mean, I think I'm doing an okay job because they made me chair of the Argentine
I was just going to ask that.
caucus, and I'm not even Argentine, you know. But they said there's so many Italians there. It's like one nation, which, you know, Italian nation, you know, on the rise. So that's always fun. But for me, like when I first got involved, I started going to like a lot of the embassy functions because it was fun, and like so I noticed like I went to a couple things from France, and I noticed that like and this was no slight on them, but it was just a caucus of fun. And so I think with the Italian caucus, I already saw like with the food and the culture, it was always easy to attract people to our functions because the food is just so incredible. And you know, it just is, that's just a lot of fun. However, there's a lot of work to be done. So I wanted to have a more of a functioning caucus where like Andrew Barbarino and I are basically openly pursuing candidates for Congress that have Italian descent, because we have a lot of issues with each other, whether it's like keeping the consulate open in Florence, or whether it's dealing with tariffs that would be on the pasta, or whether it's making sure that President Trump and our wonderful Prime Minister are good friends. You know, there's a lot.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh right there.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
But I do want it to be a functioning, actually working caucus. And so that was my main goal for getting involved. And I was just blown away that I actually, you know, became the chair of it. You know, it's a lot of interesting work. I think the embassy, the Italian embassy in Washington, is very alive. I think you probably know this. I think there's a function every night. But I think you see with the Italians in particular, it's actually a work in progress. I mean, like right now, so when you look, you know, I don't care what political party you're in, but when you look at like in our particular emphasis on America first, so like, you know, the president and the administration really wants to concentrate on actually manufacturing in America. So one of the first things we did when we were visiting the Italian parliament was we were talking to business owners about the possibility of them building businesses in Ohio. So the exciting thing is like Sam Miller has this huge distribution center where he gets a lot of remodeling supplies for kitchens and bathrooms, and he does all of Home Depot. So we were able to get Italian manufacturing that wanted to manufacturing in America, in Ohio in particular. So we're the synergy to bring them together, which is
amazing.
Yeah, it's just a lot.
And I'm sure bringing, you know, particularly when you talk about Italian manufacturing, the quality that is now being offered, not against anybody else, but you know, we're known for being particular craftsmen
especially when
of
it
a
comes
high
to
degree.
cars, we do those pretty good too.
We do those pretty good too. That's right. That's right. The other thing that we do is we promote good nutrition, and obviously there's been a lot of emphasis and congratulatory recognition internationally for Italian food culture, and the Mediterranean diet. Can you just talk a little bit about, I mean, look, you're a fit guy. You obviously have spent a significant portion of your life adhering to the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, I mean, we never used seed oil growing up. It was always olive oil. And, you know, whether it's like veal scallopini or whether it's, you know, manicotti, I think like I have stomach issues my whole life. And every time I go to Italy, within 2 or 3 days, my stomach issues go away. So like tying into like the healthy American aspect of it. Health is the most important thing you have in your life.
Absolutely.
All the money in the world, even love, nothing matters like it does health, because we want to be here as long as we can.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at longevity on Earth, I think Italy and Japan probably do it the best. And I mean, there's literally towns in Italy that the average life expectancy of some of these people are 93 to 98 years old. Yeah. So it is unusual. The Calabrese part of my family didn't live as long as the Molinari. You know, like, so the Gianettis.
But there were other issues that were going on there. Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting, and even like how like things vary from like Sardinia to the mainland. Yeah. So.
I noticed, and everyone comments, and I've lived it. You go to Italy, and of course you eat a lot of pasta, you drink wine, you have a lot of great bread, gelato, and you haven't gained a pound.
But do you notice, like in Italy, like, so it's more like a slow culture where like you sort of eat all day, but you eat small portions.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and then I think in America, I don't know if it was like the buffet culture of the 1970s and 80s that,
you can eat.
I'm going for tonnage, you know what I mean? Pile it on, eat it all, then go back for seconds, and then do nothing, you know? So, I mean, you got to stay mobile. You got to get those steps in every day.
Yes, absolutely.
You do. I mean, look at you. I mean, you get the steps in every day. You gotta,
the aches and pains are coming with it now too. So.
Age is not a friend.
I get the whole thing about living longer and healthier. Yeah. So, just 2 more questions. Now, you are, if I'm diverting a little bit from the Italian-American aspect of this conversation, but you're on energy and commerce. What are some of the things you're looking to accomplish before the end of the year?
You know, it's really strange for energy and commerce in particular. So I got on it because of the energy aspect. I represent the Ohio 6. So like for those that are very knowledgeable as far as energy goes, the Utica Marcellus Shale is concentrated the most in my district. So if we extracted all the natural gas and oil within my district, I would have enough energy to supply the current demands of the earth for 600 years. Yeah, so it's a real deal. So like I got involved, like when I was in the State House, I had a good friend who recently passed away, Bill Siderwitz, and we were involved in building gas-generated power plants. We built 3 of them together. Generates about 6.5 million people's electricity. The grid's always in jeopardy, so that was my passion. But in pure transparency and honesty with you, Susan, E&C has turned into pretty much all health.
Okay.
So this whole year, the bandwidth has been like, whether it's PGM reform, whether it's Big Pharma getting reimbursed for all their research and development, whether it's the pharmacy. Like right now, I have a really exciting bill that deals with thyroid and organic thyroid and making sure it's easy and the compound pharmacists are able to give it to you. A lot of Americans have that problem.
Sure, of course.
You know, I have probably a dozen people in my life that have that problem, so I want to make it easier for them to enjoy their life and have a healthy existence. But energy and commerce has pretty much turned into that 100%. It seems to be all we talk about.
I'm sorry to hear that, because obviously energy is on everybody's mind these days.
It's very personal and dear to me. Yeah.
That's fascinating. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. You know, I've always been impressed when I speak with you about the breadth of knowledge and interest that you take in so many different topics that impact your district and impact this country.
Well, and the cool thing about the Italian grocery store is, so like, and this is important for me just to get out, especially because when I heard I was coming on this podcast, I wanted to throw this out there. I mean, really, the American dream was always having your small little independent. Sure. I took my daughter to see Zach Bryant this weekend, and it was really fun. This woman comes up to me and she goes, I'm a constituent. Here she has the cutest Italian restaurant in Canfield, Ohio. And so we were talking about how we were raised, and her grandparents came over on the boat too, and they started this business. But I think the Italians really did it best with as far as small business and bringing that to the people and giving them options. And it doesn't matter if you're in Boulder, Colorado, or Atlanta, Georgia, or Sarasota, or Youngstown, Ohio, or especially in Little Italy, New York.
Right.
There are Italian grocery stores. A lot of them are a lot smaller than us, but I strongly suggest that your viewers really patronize them, because they're great people and they can give you a quality product that you can't find anywhere. I mean, if you don't eat Pecorino Romano every day, there's shame on you. Shame
I kind of put it on.
I'm calling shame.
I put it on like ham sandwiches.
I do too.
You're talking to the wrong
our mac and
person.
cheese is like a different level than anyone understands. Yeah,
that is so true. Pecorino, little salt, black pepper. That's our mac and cheese.
Stuffed peppers.
So
I mean,
funny.
that's breakfast for us. Yeah. Yeah.
When you talked about lunch, that's what I used to bring to lunch.
It is.
The kids would always come to my lunchbox, because we had lunch boxes on, and say, what did you bring for lunch today? Because, as I said, both my grandmother's family came from a small town about half hour from Naples. And they were poor, right? The Southern Italians were poor when they came over here, and yet when we look back now, they had the most magnificent healthy diets of any newcomers to the United States, and largely based on the Mediterranean diet. But they didn't have a lot of money for fish or meat.
And if you did a study, what do you think the percentage of Americans that maybe aren't Italian and wish they are?
Oh, I can tell you my husband's right in there.
Yeah, oh yeah,
oh, yeah.
Most people are.
Most people are,
Yeah, if you aren't Italian, marry one.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you for that.
Susan,
One quick question before we go.
Of course.
I'm going to ask you to pick your favorite child. What's your favorite Italian food? Like you're really tired, you've been working, putting in a lot of hours. Brujol. With red sauce?
Oh yeah, with red sauce. I like it with the fresh ricotta and pine nuts and maybe spinach wrapped in there. You know, definitely some olive oil and maybe a little bit of garlic. Yeah.
Do you cook?
I do. I'm not the best, but I try. Yeah.
That's all that counts.
My sauce is good. I start
you can make some good red sauce.
From the Roma tomatoes. Yeah. Your sauce is everything. I mean, that's the litany test.
Oh, that's right. It's the Sunday morning waking up to the smell.
And the best thing about making sauce, I say sauce. Do you say gravy?
No, I say sauce.
Yeah, right on. It is sauce. It's not gravy.
I say sauce.
And don't put pineapple.
I think my grandmother.
Don't put pineapple on your pizza.
I think exactly. And don't fold your pie.
That's right. Amen. But also, I think sauce is always evolving. So like right now, if you're watching and your sauce isn't really up to snuff, you can work on it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is
It
an
always
art.
is evolving,
It is an
yeah.
act in progress.
Yeah,
That is
amen.
very true.
Yep.
Hey, I thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
yeah.
joining with us today, for being such an amazing advocate for all things Italian and all things good for our nation. So it really
you.
is a pleasure and an honor.
I'll come anytime you want me. Thank you so much.
Congressman
Yeah.
Rulli. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this is the part I always have to look at. Let's see. Before we go, please stay connected to us following our Instagram and Twitter at AIF Coalition. You may also connect us with LinkedIn. And thank you for joining us at the table. Lucy will be with us next time. And again, it's been a great pleasure.
God bless you.
And you can invite me over for sauce anytime.
We're going to do that. Thank you.